Car chases are dangerous and unpredictable. Viewer discretion advised.
All right, I want to welcome in our CBS 2 News viewers. CBS 2 and KCAL 9 simulcasting right now. You are looking at a pursuit, a slow-speed pursuit right now through the cities of Bell Gardens and Commerce. This is a stolen U-Haul truck that was stolen earlier this morning. According to Bell Gardens Police Department, 2 people are inside. They apparently tried to pull over this U-Haul truck onto surface streets. They failed to yield, and this pursuit has been going on. Short time ago, officers were able to successfully deploy a spike strip, and basically the front right tire was destroyed. Right now, this truck moving very slowly through streets, now hitting some heavy traffic. Look at that. Not a lot of places this car could go. This truck has been riding on the rim here with 2 people inside. On the phone with us has been Scott Wrights, formerly with LAPD SWAT. He's been bringing us some amazing insight here, as well as to what's going to be going on here. Right now, Scott, if you're still with us, it's a wait-and-see operation to see when this driver is going to pull over.
That's correct. They're going to take their time. The one thing that police don't want to do necessarily is precipitate a use of force that's going to be called into question, the tactics and the methodology in which they applied those tactics or that use of force. So they've got to be very, very circumspect about that, and I'm sure they are. The primary unit's going to make the determination. They'll have a watch commander, and I guarantee they have supervisors there on scene, and they're communicating back and forth via simplex so that they can figure out what their next plan of action is going to be.
Yeah, Scott, and I saw there in the wide shot, I think they just passed the Commerce Casino, which hugs the 5 freeway there. The Citadel outlet malls are there as well. This looks like one of those frontage roads. My guess is with a downed tire riding on the rim, the freeway is not the way to go.
Well, for the suspect, that would be a pretty bad call. It's going to lock him in. The one thing that I know that most police don't want to do is allow him to get to a heavily populated area, such as a casino where they run inside. We don't, again, always have to assume that the suspect may possibly be armed. We don't know that. And that's always a mitigating factor when you're making your determination as to what tactics you're going to employ.
Yeah, and I know that area is very crowded during the holidays. My guess is it's going to be crowded today as well. So it would be a place for them to hide, but not easy to get in and out of, I know, with all the traffic that goes on in that area. This pursuit right now on Telegraph Road there, we just saw a moment ago, passing the Citadel outlets, the Commerce Casino there, continuing to go. And as we get that close-up look there, you can see it looks like might be a suitcase, that multicolor square object there in the back of the pickup truck. And we are getting a better view of at least the driver there. We can see his arm. Bell Gardens police telling us there are 2 people inside this truck. And this pursuit may have been going a lot faster if it wouldn't have been for that successful deployment of a spike strip that happened just a short time ago that basically destroyed that front right tire. This car has been riding on the rim for quite a bit here. And again, what we are waiting to see is what this driver's next move will be. Scott, you were telling us there are 2 scenarios here. Could you repeat those again for us, for our viewers just joining us?
Well, the one scenario is that the suspects simply stop the vehicle and they comply with the officer's demands. The second is that you're looking at a foot pursuit, and either one of which are going to result in the suspects being captured. You have enough police officers behind him. You have an air unit overhead. I guarantee you that they probably, if they don't already have a canine in trail, they've got one en route. So you've got the canine in conjunction with the air unit. He can go white hot or black hot on the FLIR, which is forward-looking infrared. So it'd be highly unusual for them at this point in time in these conditions for either one of the suspects in a foot pursuit to make good their escape. They're probably going to get captured.
And we all know how all these stories end, and it's usually with somebody in custody, and it's one of definitely the driver and most likely the passenger if they find that person committed some sort of crime as well. We're watching this pickup truck here moving slowly. We take a wider shot there. You can see here we have some businesses in the area as well. It's a slow-moving pursuit with 5 cars. 5 sheriff cars behind it, CHP cars, I believe. I think they're CHP cars. Right behind the truck there. And again, this truck riding on the front rim. It's going quite a distance here. And go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, it's again, at some point these guys are going to have to figure out what they want to do, if they want to continue on the pursuit or simply just at this point give up. I mean, they're not. They really don't have any viable options.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they sure don't. And again, we are watching this pursuit, slow-moving pursuit, unfold right now. This is in the Commerce area. We saw this pickup truck on Telegraph Road just a moment ago, cross by the Commerce Casino, by the Citadel Outlet Mall there, and now it looks like it just passed another officer's car right there as it's moving into an industrial area here. There's some apartment buildings as well. Again, we're watching this unfold. We keep thinking maybe they're going to make a turn, they're going to go somewhere. At this point, it seems like they're just going in some roundabout fashion. The good thing is it is a slow speed pursuit. People can definitely see this coming from quite a distance, and so far we see some pedestrians there on the side of the road there on the right-hand side. They moved back when they saw the pursuit go by them. So far, nobody's been hurt, so that's a good thing. There have been no traffic collisions, so definitely a good thing as we watch this unfold. And now we are seeing that there's a very large big rig right there at that intersection, at that light, waiting to cross. That FedEx truck, the pickup truck here, moving its way around it on the right-hand side. Let's see what the car is going to do there. Yeah, making a right-hand turn there. And again, very slow. Now we are seeing some extra traffic that this pickup truck that was just behind it pulled over. And once again, here we go at another intersection, just going to go through it right there. So again, watching this pursuit unfold, you're watching CBS 2 and KCAL 9 following this slow-speed pursuit through the streets. Bell Gardens earlier this morning, now in the Commerce area. And this is Olympic Boulevard, as we saw there. Our chopper showing us the street where this is at right now. Bell Gardens police telling us this is a stolen vehicle, this pickup truck owned by U-Haul. 2 people are inside. Apparently, it may have been reported stolen when police tried to pull it over on surface streets. They failed to pull over, and that is when this pursuit got underway. Not too long ago, we saw officers deploy the spike strip. That did its job very nicely. Other times we've seen the spike strip deployed and really didn't do its job, or things were just going too fast. But this time it did its job. The driver tried to avoid it, but that front right tire definitely got hit pretty badly. You can see all the rubber on that rim has been shredded. So this pickup truck, very noisy, I'm guessing, inside that pickup truck, has been riding on the rim for quite a bit. So right now it seems that the Sheriff's Department there above, they are watching it as we are unfold as well as ground units on the scene right there. Scott, if you're still on the phone, you mentioned the pit maneuver may be deployed. What would be the decision to do that? When is the right time to do it?
Well, you have to look at the speed at which the vehicle that you attempt to pit, and if I'm not mistaken, it's called the precision intervention technique, hence the derivation of pit. I could be off on that. But what it's designed to do is you strike it from a rear quarter panel, and basically the car itself skews in position and hopefully comes to an at-rest position as a result of that. You have to be aware of the speed. So the speeds here look like they're consistent with the pit maneuver. The other is you have to do it in an area where you're not going to endanger anybody else, so you do have to wait for that. And then one other thought is that the officers may have some independent information that the suspects are in fact armed, which is why they're not conducting this. They may have information that we don't have, which would mitigate the factor of going in on a pit maneuver if you have armed individuals within the vehicle.
Right. Well, we just saw this truck go through a very heavily congested construction area there where speeds are reduced. And of course, this truck going anywhere from 35 to 45 miles an hour. We also saw the truck when it made that right-hand turn on Whittier Boulevard just pass someone who was in a wheelchair and their family there. So luckily nobody injured in that interaction, which luckily nothing happened there. But eastbound now on Whittier Boulevard, the truck seems to be slowing down just a little bit here. We're watching again to see what this driver is going to do next. And on the other side, on the opposite lanes of traffic, this is definitely involving a lot more law enforcement than what we're seeing in our shot. Looks like Montebello. That street sign shows the city of Montebello. So now this pursuit making its way into the Montebello area. So now from Bell Gardens to Commerce to Montebello, 3 cities in an area now where there's not a lot of traffic. At least we haven't seen too much traffic here on Whittier Boulevard eastbound as this truck continues to make its way down streets on a rim, on a basically one of the front tire has been destroyed. So this car traveling just on its right-hand rim there. And as far as we know, 2 people inside. Scott writes with the formerly with SWAT Tactics with the LAPD, was telling us that the big concern, of course, is whether or not these 2 people inside, these 2 occupants inside the car may be armed or not. We don't know that, but that may be one of the reasons we haven't seen the pit maneuver happen. But what you did see there on the right side of your screen, that was the my goodness, I forgot the name of the spike strip that was deployed. Thank you very much. In the control room, that was a spike strip that was deployed there and definitely did its job. But still, this truck is continuing to make its way down surface streets here while the driver figures out what he will do next. Right now going through another intersection, no cross traffic whatsoever, and the pursuit continues here, as we mentioned, moving its way into Montebello. Scott, when it comes to changing agencies, at this point, are we just going to see this played out by that one agency, or would it change if it went onto a freeway? Oh, look at this. Oh, all right. There's been a traffic collision right here on, I don't see the street here, but I think this is definitely going to be over now. Let's see what he's going to do. He's out of control. He hit another pickup truck there in the intersection. Now he's on the opposite lanes of traffic. So now he could be encountering traffic that's going to hit him straight on. You can see sparks now coming from the rim that has stopped spinning. So, Scott, my guess is here we're just seconds away from this coming to an end. This truck is not going to be going too far anytime soon.
Yeah, I would imagine you might see a foot pursuit momentarily. It's going to be one of those 2 options. Well, there's a third option if there aren't, but it's either going to be a foot pursuit, they're going to submit to the officers or comply with the officers' demands, or something else will happen.
And now, Scott, that there has been a collision, he's hit another car. Again, he just keeps racking up more and more. This is technically a hit and run, I guess, right? He hit a car and he kept going.
Oh, absolutely. And if you have injuries, now you have hit and run with injuries, so that upgrades it to a felony, I believe. So, yeah, I mean, they're bought and paid for in terms of the violations that they're accumulating and accruing here. If they're smart, they're just going to give up at this point in time.
I have to say I'm surprised that even with the collision, jumping onto the sidewalk, maneuvering their way onto opposite traffic, and look at this, the rim, Scott, I don't know if you can see it on your TV screen, it is dead stopped. It is sparking on the asphalt there. So
yeah, it's going to wear down to the point where the front portion of the vehicle will come into contact, and that will further impede the forward progress of the vehicle. It's just, not to mention, you can start, obviously, the car on fire at some point in time, depending on what those sparks hit.
My guess is that, too. I was watching that, and I was thinking the same thing. On the right side, Scott, we're showing again that traffic collision that happened in the city of Montebello, and there you see the truck. It jumped the sidewalk, fishtailed a little bit, went into oncoming traffic, and then now it continues its journey down streets of Montebello with that front right rim sparking quite a bit as well and smoking as well. So as you were saying, we could see this car catch fire. Not too many places at this point, surface street or freeway or anywhere else, that this could go. I guess the big concern would be that foot bail, but there are plenty of officers in the area. We just saw the sheriff's chopper cross the shot there.
Yep. So, at this point, again, it's only a matter of time till it grinds down to the front portion of the vehicle, comes in contact with the deck as well, surface street.
Now, I don't know too much about cars, but I'm guessing if that rim is locked solid, is that because the axle has broken, or is that because, what would cause that? I'm trying to figure that out.
Well, once you start, I would imagine, I'm just thinking about this from a mechanical standpoint. Once you start to abrade it down to a certain point, it can't really turn because it's turning itself against a flat surface, which is virtually impossible. So you have basically half of a wheel that it's physically impossible to turn it with that amount of poundage pressing down on it.
Look, and he's slowing down there right Not a great shot for us there, right behind a palm tree and a billboard. But as you mentioned, absolutely the case. You're looking at the rim there. It's worn down enough to where it's on a flat surface right now. We have officers right behind there. They've opened up their doors. Our chopper is swinging around to give you guys a better shot of exactly what is going to happen here. I can finally see a shadow in the passenger seat, and it looks like they're moving around. Not sure exactly what they're doing, but this truck looks like it's not going to be going anywhere, but look at that. He's moving around inside. It looks like he's looking through the side view mirror. There's something in his hand. He's putting his hands up, so he must be receiving some sort of a command from officers, or is that a cigarette in his hand? I don't know. But we're watching this. See, now he's got a bag. This isn't good, right, Scott, when you're rummaging through bags inside a car and a pursuit like this?
No, that's very foolhardy. That's not good.
Definitely not good. Well, we're watching, at least it looks like hands are up, but I'm not sure. We're waiting to see. The next command would be for them to either throw out the keys or open the doors and start getting out of the car slowly. You can see this pursuit ending right outside a car dealership right there. Lots of people watching this unfold on the ground as well. We're going to see what these guys are going to do next. This is what could be the end of a pursuit here that started earlier this morning. It was, according to Bell Gardens police, a stolen vehicle. It's a stolen U-Haul truck with some sort of stuff there in the cab of the, or rather in the bed of the truck there. 2 occupants inside. Now we do see the 2 people inside the truck. Looks like the passenger's got a water bottle now in his hand. Not sure exactly what they're doing, but they're doing something. They're moving stuff around. The passenger looks like he's moving his way towards the driver's side of the car. But again, just a lot of shuffling of merchandise and stuff, whatever's inside that truck. That's what we're seeing right now. Scott, right now, is it still a wait and see game? Are officers at this point giving some sort of commands, or what do you think?
No, I can tell not what I think. I know what they're doing. They're issuing commands.
Okay.
And they're going to try to bring these individuals out one at a time. What these 2 suspects are up to inside is anybody's guess. But they've got pretty good coverage at this point in time. You can see the officers barricaded on the opposing side of the street. And they're going to issue commands, and the suspects, if they're smart, are going to comply with those commands without making any further moves that could be misconstrued as bringing a weapon system to bear on the officers. Yeah,
and I'm guessing the sheriff's chopper is also letting them know what we're seeing as well is that they're rummaging through the truck, going through bags of some sort, so officers know exactly what's happening. It looks like there's a dolly in the back. Looks like there's a red suitcase. The other multicolored blue square object may be a suitcase as well. So, and a gas tank or something. That red thing on the bottom side of the cab. We just saw them throw something on the dash of the truck there. Again, this is I don't know what's taking so long for these guys to get out of the truck. Perhaps they're trying to hide something or whatnot. But Scott, you're telling us they are getting commands. Would there be officers at this point positioned in front of the truck as well? I know they usually approach from the rear.
There may be, but you really don't need it at this point. They have 3 points of coverage from both lateral side and then from the rear. So there's not much that these individuals can do that isn't going to be effectively countered by the officers who are on scene right now. So positioning a vehicle to the front, I wouldn't necessarily.
No need, right? So the 3 points you're talking about are which ones? I'm seeing just the officers in the back.
Well, yeah, that's because you're air shot. But, you have to the back, you have them off to the opposing side of the vehicle dealership. And then you have officers off to the passenger side of the vehicle that are coming in from an angle behind the doors. So that would be another point of coverage, and that would be to the vehicle furthermost to the right or bottom of your screen. Yeah,
and we just saw when we showed the officers, they have their guns drawn and they're pointed at the truck. So they're waiting for, they're ready for anything. And, of course, it would be really a stupid move for these guys to do anything other than comply with officers at this point, especially if it's just a stolen truck. So you can see, we see, look, you were mentioning the other points of coverage. Here we have officers by the cars at the dealership, also on their knees there with their guns drawn. So they've got a side view of what's happening here. Really wish we could see a better look at what's happening here, but hopefully they're going to be exiting the truck at any moment there. I'm going to ask the folks in the booth if they could find out where this is exactly. Last check, it was Whittier Boulevard in Montebello, but we're not sure. But we want to let people know where this Chevy dealership is. just in case they're going to be traveling through the area. Might be an area they want to stay away from for the time being, because it looks like it's going to take a while to clear this all up. So again, we have a stolen U-Haul pickup truck finally coming to an end here, or to a halt. We're waiting to see the 2 occupants put into custody right here. As far as we know, there are 2 people inside. We did see some movement inside the truck, some items being taken in and out of bags. We don't know exactly what's happening. Okay, I was just told 3rd and Whittier, everybody. If you're watching us right now, this is 3rd and Whittier Boulevard in the city of Montebello. This is where this pursuit has come to an end right now. We're waiting to see now the people inside the truck come out. You can see the damage that spike strip did to that front right tire, as Scott was mentioning it. I asked him why it wasn't turning, and you can see why. Oh, there he is. He's thrown out one of those bags that we saw him rummage through. Now another bag. What else is going to happen here? Look at that. They're just throwing everything outside. And then, Scott, my guess is if they were concealing a weapon, officers want all that outside the truck to minimize any problems, right?
Well, yeah, the best thing these guys can do at this point is just come out very slowly, hands straight up in the air, and do precisely and exactly what the officers command them to do. So, if that's what they told them to do, then do it. I mean, at this point, every single piece of evidence that's inside the vehicle they're throwing out is going to be tied into them. So I have no idea what their thought process.
Yeah, I'm watching them go through these backpacks of sorts, and then now he's throwing out another backpack. So I wonder what he has inside, if those were even in the truck at the time that they stole the pickup truck, this stolen pickup truck. Are they just buying time, or are they just following orders at this point?
Well, they're suspects, and I don't think that they're operating above room temperature IQ at this point.
Right. Well,
you got a lot of problems with these guys. They're just not thinking clearly. At this point, there's nothing that they're doing inside that vehicle that's going to benefit their cause.
Right. Crooks aren't the smartest, are they? Are they, Scott?
Yeah, it's just, they're suspects, and I don't know what to tell you. I've come across them, and there's no rhyme or reason to what they do. Oftentimes, they just work in a very extemporaneous fashion, and you're left scratching your head, go, why would you do that?
Yeah, and that's the problem here. There seems to be a lot of stuff inside that truck. When this first came to a stop, we saw them rummaging through those bags and looking for something it looked like. But as Scott, you're mentioning, it's nothing. Whatever they're doing right now is not going to help them, whatever it is. I don't know if they're looking for their IDs or what they might need to head to jail at this point. But they sure are taking a long time to get out of this truck. This is over at 3rd and Whittier in the city of Montebello. This is a pursuit that started in Bell Gardens, moved its way into the city of Commerce, went by the Commerce Casino, went by the outlets there. Pretty busy area as you head on the 5 freeway through that area. But once the officers deployed the spike strip, they were pretty much limited to surface streets because they couldn't go too fast. And it wasn't until after there was a collision and then the truck hit the curb there, jumped the sidewalk, fishtailed a little bit. I think that's when the tire and the rim, or the rim rather, got the biggest amount of damage, and then eventually slowing it down to the point that we are right now, where they aren't going anywhere. Listening to officers' commands right now. The police officers are behind them. Their guns are drawn. I can't see a canine in this shot, Scott, but you're guessing that there's probably one on the scene as well.
Correct. I would certainly have one standing by. I would have had one either deployed, but it'd be back. You're not going to let the canine go until they actually exit the vehicle. That's not going to do any good. It's not beneficial. So
for people watching and wondering, because I am wondering about this, the canine's purpose would be, is it something more of a scare tactic? Is it what does it do? I know if I had a German Shepherd coming at me barking, I would stop doing what I was doing.
Well, you're also a reasonable individual, which is why you're involved in the profession that you are. Suspects aren't necessarily like that. It can be a deterrent effect. The other fact is that once the suspect takes off, if they feel that he's going to endanger other individuals, they can let the canine go, and the canine will actually take them down. I see. And those are very well-trained dogs, aren't they? Yes. When I used to train LAPD canine, I would take actual hits off of all their different dogs, and you have a bite sleeve on, but it is tremendously powerful, and it's not something that I got bit once in the tail on when it missed the bite slip or bite sleeve, but it gets your mind right, and they can definitely stop you in your tracks.
Oh, definitely, definitely. All that weight coming at you all at once, knocking you down, can knock down the biggest guy there. We're watching the officers still in position. They're outside their units right now with guns drawn. Obviously, they've been giving the two people inside this truck some sort of directions. Moments ago, we saw them throw out 2 backpacks and some other items from the truck, at least from the passenger side. That's what we saw. We haven't seen anything come off the driver's side. But here we are watching this unfold. This is 3rd and Whittier in the city of Montebello. It's a stolen U-Haul pickup truck. We've now gone from a pursuit to a standoff. These two people inside the car, we don't know if they're armed or not, still sitting in the car. We still have not seen any keys being thrown out. At least we can't tell if that's the case. But we do know, and we have seen, there are 2 people inside. They've been rummaging through bags. They've been doing all sorts of things instead of just coming out. So, again, watching this unfold live right now on CBS 2 and KCAL 9 in the city of Montebello, a stolen U-Haul truck from pursuit to standoff right now. And we're just waiting to see, again, what is going to happen next. You can see these officers very patient right there, all of them in position. And Scott, you're saying that position that they're in, those 3 points of coverage is ideal for this situation. And it looks like because it's near a dealership, there aren't a lot of pedestrians around either.
That's correct, and they would have already secured other areas. They're going to have these streets blocked up way to the front positioning of the vehicle. Off to the sides, they will have evacuated individuals in case any gunfire should break out on behalf of the suspects. So that's something that they've done. So they've contained the area. You have an inner perimeter, exterior perimeter, and then these officers can work freely. And I guarantee you that if this continues on for much longer, a SWAT team is going to be brought in to bring their resources to bear on the problem.
And they actually may be on the way already, right, Scott? And my guess is just, I mean, so far we haven't seen them comply 100%. And it looks like did this car get a little closer, the police officer's car? It looks like it got a little closer. Maybe it's just the angle that we're watching this now from.
Yeah, I think it's probably the angle. I don't think they moved up on it.
Oh, okay.
But you know what? Yeah, they probably made a request for a SWAT unit. So if they're in Montebello, then probably Montebello SWAT will respond. But it takes time. It takes time to activate it because you've got to call everybody. They have to get all the resources and
Right.
arrive on the scene.
And what would they arrive on the scene with? Is it one of those armored cars, or what would they show up with?
Yeah, most probably they have an armored car. Some of them referred to as Bearcats, and of course they've worked on techniques. When you have field officers, they have limited resources. You're bringing a SWAT team, and now you're significantly upgrading not only the background and the ability of the officers themselves as individuals and their training, but also the equipment and the methodologies that they can utilize to work around problems that field officers just simply aren't equipped to deal with.
They do such a great job, Scott. I remember seeing it not many years ago, but a few years ago when the Occupy LA movement was in downtown LA, the LAPD deployed their special units. I mean, I was down there. It was unbelievable to see these men and women at work. Such precision, such professionalism. I mean, they do such a great job out there, and they're being put to the test all the time.
Well, that's the nature of the job, and that's, as they say, that's what you're paid the big bucks for. But no, they are. They're truly consummate professionals, and they're constantly attempting to upgrade their skills. And all of our use of force in this day and age are being called into question, and rightly so. And you have to be very circumspect in the amount of force that you apply, the method in which you apply it, and all the precipitory factors that lead up to that use of force.
Right.
So that's why these officers aren't moving in. If this was the 1950s, you would see an entirely different approach to this problem.
Right. Well, training has gotten better. They train all the time. And again, use of force is something that has been criticized in the past, and they've trained to make sure that every situation is dealt with as best as possible. Scott, we just got some word from our newsroom here that the passengers inside this truck, it seems to be a female driver and a male passenger. I know for a lot of times it's always interesting to us when we see who's behind the wheel, and in this case it seems like it is a female driver and a male passenger. We're watching now on the right side of the screen something that happened earlier there, and that's when they were rummaging through those backpacks, and they threw them out the door there. So that's just some extra information that we want to pass along to our viewers. If they find that interesting, I certainly do. This is 3rd and Whittier in Montebello. This is a standoff now. The stolen U-Haul pickup truck started right around just before 11:30 in the morning, and we came into broadcasting right around 11:30, so we've been there. And I've just been told that, Scott, the K9 is on the scene. We're seeing a wide shot there, so trying to see exactly where it is. But as you thought, and as you thought it would be, yes, indeed, the K9 is on the scene, and people are being kept at quite a distance, at least a safe distance. So would officers at some point evacuate the area, or just do what they did, just keep people at a safe distance?
No, they're evacuating the area. One other thought, this is a possibility only.
Uh-huh.
But we don't know the dynamic between the two individuals in the vehicle. And if you have a female driver and a male passenger, is there a possibility that this female driver is being held?
Oh, carjacked, right?
Yeah, under duress. In other words, do we have a situation which is out of control? It could be a domestic, or it could be an actual righteous, what we call righteous hostage situation, and that changes the dynamic entirely.
That sure does change the entire thought of this just being two people who stole a truck, and they're on their way. And I'm guessing officers have to keep any and every possible scenario in mind, just like the one you just mentioned. And there's the K9, Scott. You see it there, right on the driver's side of the police vehicle there, at the ready. It seems like the officer's holding its collar, and looks like he's ready to go at some point.
Yeah, they're. I think Platts is. I know that one of the words they use is Platts to sit, but yeah, he's keyed up, and he's going to listen to his handler, and his handler will release him if and when he deems it necessary to do so.
Yeah, I think Platts is German for sit, right, or lay down.
I believe so.
Yeah,
yes.
German Shepherd, makes sense, right? Well, here we are. We're watching this pursuit, Scott. Now standoff unfold here, and you really did mention something interesting that I didn't think about with the dynamic of a female driver, male passenger, is what the situation is here. Is she in on it? Is she a victim? Is she, under some sort of duress? All these things have to be thought of, obviously, right?
Well, correct, and that's one of the things the officers are being asked to evaluate. You're going to have an incident commander now on scene, I guarantee you, and he's trying to figure out what they're looking at. I guarantee at this point they've got a SWAT team en route, and certainly assembling one, realizing that this has basically surpassed the capabilities of initial responding officers. If you have noncompliance for this period of time at an at-risk position, I would make the assumption that we're dealing with something that is out of the ordinary.
Right. I mean, I've seen these situations unfold, and usually by this point, the hands would have come out, showing that they were, empty. The doors would have opened. They would have done the usual, lift their shirt, stand up, hit the ground, and then officers would move in. It's the timing now you're talking about, the non-compliance for such a long period of time that has officers concerned. You mentioned the incident commander. What is their role on the scene right now? Would they be this person be the one to give the next command as to what we're going to do?
Well, they're going to coordinate with the other officers, and they're trying to figure out a game plan. And if we have SWAT en route, then they're going to have to hand it off over to them. And basically, the incident commander is the one who is coordinating all the efforts between all the officers as we have here in an at-rest position, but all the responding officers, their job is to coordinate everything between them so nothing gets out of hand. And we have designated cover officers. We have designated officers with less lethal, perhaps tasers, beanbag guns, things of that nature. So they're assigning different positions. So you have one individual who's kind of coordinating everything that's going on. And again, you're trying to predetermine the actions of a suspect, which is very undeterminable at this point in time.
My guess is that's a lot of pressure on the incident commander.
Well, yeah, again, that's why you get paid the big bucks. You want to be an incident commander. That's exactly what you buy into.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Now, you mentioned the SWAT team being called in. Once they called in, the officers would then not retreat, but basically would the standoff at that point go into the hands of SWAT officers?
Yeah, they're going to. Well, it's a gradual process. They don't come in and forget what you see on TV, please.
Okay.
Forget that. But what you're going to do, it'll be a gradual handoff, and the SWAT officers will supplant the initial officers that you see on scene, and then they're going to bring their own resources to bear on the problem. And that's how it works, and it's a very gradual process.
And you mentioned the beanbags, the non-lethal weaponry. Is that something that these officers would have, or that SWAT would then be the ones to use it to bring this standoff to an end?
No, most officers now in the field across the nation have the capability. Not every officer necessarily, but field officers have less lethal shotguns. Those are the ones that commonly shoot what you refer to as the beanbag.
Right.
And they also have the Taser, but that has a limited range of 21 feet. So that there are different methods that we can utilize that are short of the application of deadly force to bring a situation under control. But SWAT will also have other things, such as maybe a 40 millimeter, launcher, which is capable of shooting different types of munition. So again, they bring in specialized equipment to bear on the problem.
Would they use something to smash out the back window, some sort of smoke grenade or tear gas or anything to get this, under control?
Yeah, you put smoke in there, you can't see what's going on.
Oh, I see.
If you have a hot situation, that would be a
not
nightmare.
good.
No, and in terms of putting tear gas in, that's, again, an iffy proposition. I don't exactly know what the dynamics are inside that. And the last thing you want to do, and again, we don't have all the information that they do.
Right.
So the last thing you'd want to do is precipitate a shooting on behalf of the suspect. Let's say if it was a hostage situation, for instance, and you suddenly precipitate or cause that suspect to subsequently shoot and wound and or kill the victim, you're going to have a real problem in court.
And Scott, I wish we could really hear what's going on down on the ground. Through your experience, what would be some of the commands that would be coming from the officers to the people inside this truck?
Well, in a very low, in a very calm voice, they're going to tell them, please get it. I guarantee you they've repeated it hundreds of times at this point. Exit the vehicle, driver, please exit the vehicle, hands out. Driver, what is your name? The SWAT also has the ability to bring in a CNT, crisis negotiator, CNT individual who is perhaps a little more schooled in dealing with individuals that are non-compliant. But at this point, the commands will be very monosyllabic. They're going to be very calm, very straightforward, very direct. And they're repeatedly being issued for the entire time that we've been watching this. Those commands have been going on, I can guarantee you.
And again, we haven't seen any other movement happening inside this pickup truck. Again, the dynamic of what's going on inside, Scott, you were telling us we don't know exactly what the relationship is now between the two people inside. We understand the driver is a woman, the passenger is a man. That's something that now officers need to keep in mind as to what might be the relationship of the two people inside the car, if it's assailant and victim or carjacking victim and somebody else. So unbelievable that we haven't seen much more movement other than the backpacks being thrown out the passenger side window. We haven't seen anything else happen.
No, and for whatever reason, I have no idea what the rationale is behind those actions. Yeah. Neither do the officers on scene, so I'm sure that they're okay. I'm good. We've got some equipment out, but we have no idea what's still remaining in the vehicle or what the intent was of that male passenger. And typically, it's the male that you have a problem with, not necessarily the female. There are some female suspects that can be, quite endangering, but generally it's the male that you have to worry about more than anybody else in a situation like this.
Yeah, and we're looking at the wide shot there of that intersection there. This is 3rd and Whittier. Scott, you can see that basically the area has been blocked off. And look at that, Scott. You mentioned the SWAT team. My guess is that is one of those SWAT vehicles arriving on the scene just as you suspected.
Well, that is definitely a Bearcat. That is correct.
What is inside that Bearcat?
Everything but the kitchen sink. It's just, and we've learned this over the years. When I was in SWAT in 81, 91, we had vehicles, vans back then, and the advance that they've made in terms of the lighting techniques, and they're so much equipment in there that allows us to adapt to so many different problems that it's eye-watering at this point in time. So we have a tremendous range and array of not only equipment but skill sets and experience behind deployment of different devices and techniques that we can utilize now in a broad range of subjects that officers are dealing with in these days in the streets.
We know technology has definitely affected the way we all live our lives. My guess is for law enforcement tactics as well. All this new technology that's happening has changed the game for SWAT and for street officers too.
Well, in the last 2 decades, there's been a massive paradigm shift in how law enforcement not only trains but responds to incidents across the United States. It's not just in Los Angeles area or California, but across the United States. And I've trained special forces and police over in Europe. The same thing. It's throughout the world. Everybody's had to upgrade their capabilities, and that's simply because of the demands that are placed on us.
And living in such a large city like Los Angeles and Los Angeles County as well, being the second largest city in the country, it's important that our officers have the very latest and the very best.
No, absolutely. Our company years ago, a number of years ago, we did a benefit for LAPD SWAT through International Tactical. And one of the things was to get different types of equipment for them. Sometimes city budgets are restricted. So we set up a funding thing, and we had a big event, and we got money for them so that they could buy different things such as robots, different things that the city wasn't able to budget for. Sometimes they have booster clubs that help specialized weapons and tactics teams across the United States to get equipment that they simply can't afford or the city doesn't have a budget for.
And Scott, just a few moments ago, we did see that Bearcat, as you mentioned, looks like it's circling its way around. Is it getting into position? Where would it go to at this point to start their side of the operation?
I don't know. They're trying to make a determination right now. So they're going to look at it. They're going to figure it out and probably scouting the area. And they'll have a scout, a couple scouts get out. They've got a pretty good idea of the lay of the land, so to speak. But where they decide to deploy is going to be based on the information that they have that we may not have at this point in time. And
as far as your information is, that one Bearcat would be enough to handle this situation. Is there more equipment coming in, or is everything they need inside that Bearcat?
Well, a lot of times, some departments, they only have the funding for one Bearcat. LAPD SWAT, we've got 2 massive trucks, and Bearcat, we've got a ton of equipment now. I mean, it's just eye-watering. A lot of departments, though, they've got one simple Bearcat, and that's it. But the equipment, we cross-train, and everybody cross-trains, everybody shares information. So at this point in time, if they feel that it's so necessitated, then they'll bring in other equipment, maybe from outlying jurisdiction. So sometimes SWAT teams have actually aided each other, kind of a mutual assist type of a program.
And that Bearcat, my guess, is an armored vehicle, right? It's bulletproof. It's got everything that you need for the most serious of conditions, right?
Yeah, it's bullet resistant. Yeah, and there are all different levels that go into it. Absolutely. It's certainly affords a lot more protection than the black and whites.
Well, Scott, take a look at your TV monitor there. It looks like the Bearcat is now on a side street there. Again, my guess is they're figuring out what their next move is going to be, but they're inside. There's officers inside. How many would you guess would man this type of Bearcat?
Well, you might have a driver and a passenger officer.
Okay.
If you have supplemental officers, you might have 4 to 6 inside the back if they have the bench seats. If they want to bring them up into position.
And that car in front of it, you see that SUV, that black SUV with the flashing lights? What would that be?
That would probably be another SWAT vehicle.
Okay. So they would work in tandem is what they would do?
Correct.
Okay.
And they're probably going to start, they're figuring out right now, you can see they're taking their time, but they're going to figure out how to move in position. We've got other vehicles coming up, ones with the push bars. So what you're looking at are probably some of the other SWAT officers arriving on scene. And they're going to get out. And what we've done typically in SWAT, all your equipment is carried in the trunk. So you respond to the scene, find out what you have, and then you dress right there at the trunk. That's when you put on all your ballistic vests, all your SWAT equipment, all the weapon systems. That's where you basically gear up.
And it looks like that Bearcat, Scott, is about a block and a half away. Again, officers congregating there. They're going to have a powwow and figure out what they're going to do next. What we're showing on our screen once again was that oh, look, here we go. Scott, things are finally starting to happen here. Doors have opened, hands are in the air, and we're going to see exactly, we had been reporting that it's a female driver, male passenger. We're going to be seeing more in just a second here once this person steps out. And it looks like there's an arm around this person's neck, doesn't it?
I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe there's a little bit of a delay, but at least what I'm looking at, it looks like the woman has her. Yeah, the guy's hugging onto the woman. That is so.
If you were to ask, okay, what you're looking at is, yeah, you're looking at a hostage situation now.
Is that what that is?
Well, I don't know, or maybe they're hugging.
I mean, it looks like a hug, but I don't know. I've never seen this before at the end of a pursuit. Maybe they're saying their goodbyes, but it looks like she's trying to shimmy her way out of the car, and now his hands are around her waist. This is so bizarre. Oh my goodness. Let's see if she can get out. And of course, this is, see, look, he's right behind her. I wonder if he's afraid they're going to shoot him and they're going to use her as a shield. I'm just guessing, like officers would be guessing. He's not letting her go.
You have to wonder if this is a domestic.
Oh my goodness. Well, of course, this doesn't look good for the woman here in this situation here. She's obviously talking to the guy, trying to convince him to let her go. She's got one foot out, her hands are up. But you were mentioning earlier, the females in this case are usually more compliant, and it's the men who are the problems. Here we go. Her hands are up. Her hands are now behind her head. And the male, in this case, now they're hugging again. But see, she wants him off him, Scott. It looks like we still don't know what's going on here.
Yeah.
Is he kissing her?
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah, I would say you have a domestic right now.
Oh, my goodness. I have to say, Scott, it's the first time I've seen anything like this. And here come the officers. Oh. Did they taser him? It looks like they just tasered him with a hand taser. Whoa. Yeah, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 officers. Now another officer's checking the cab and the back of the truck. Looks like the woman and the male passenger are now in custody. It looks like she's been handcuffed already or about to be handcuffed. Her hands are behind her back. And they actually tasered the guy with the hand taser to get him to let go. He wouldn't let this woman go. Definitely a first for me, Scott, seeing something like this where a male suspect, a male passenger in this type of situation would... yeah,
that was a great execution of less lethal. You know, the taser.
Yes.
Really did a good job on that. Real superlative and great, command presence and very professional.